What happens when Elon Musk and Donald Trump are pulled into my time, tested by the desert, by knowledge, by wealth, and by their own ambitions? For 5 days I will guide them, but will they learn, or will history forget them? Watch till the end, and discover the path to true power.
I, Elon Musk, never imagined waking up in the middle of a golden desert with Donald Trump beside me. The sand beneath us was warm, the air dry and filled with the faint scent of spices carried by the wind. We were confused, stranded in a time long before our own, until we saw him, Mansa Musa, the legendary emperor of Mali. Draped in golden robes, he stood with a knowing smile, his presence both regal and welcoming. "You have been chosen for a journey," he said, his deep voice carrying wisdom centuries old, one that will change how you see the world. With no other choice, we mounted camels, their hooves sinking into the shifting sands, and set off into the vast Sahara. The golden dunes stretched endlessly before us, the sky a deep, burning blue. The journey had begun. The caravan moved slowly across the dunes, the scorching heat pressing upon us like an unrelenting force. Merchants and travelers followed in disciplined lines, their faces hardened by the desert's trials. Despite their burdens, they remained silent, determined. Trump grew irritated, adjusting his robes.
"We're powerful men. Why are we trudging through this wasteland like common traders? Surely, Mansa Musa, you have servants who could carry us."
Mansa Musa merely smiled, guiding his camel forward. He did not respond immediately, letting the silence stretch until the vastness of the desert itself seemed to weigh upon us. By nightfall, exhaustion had settled into my bones. As we gathered around the fire, drinking spiced tea, Mansa Musa finally spoke. "Power is not measured by how far above others you stand," he said simply. "It is measured by how closely you walk among them." Neither Trump nor I responded. The desert stretched on endlessly, but I felt as if we had already begun to glimpse something greater than ourselves. The sun blazed down upon us as we traveled with Mansa Musa's caravan. Merchants and travelers moved in disciplined lines, their voices blending with the rhythmic steps of camels. The desert seemed infinite, an ocean of sand with no end in sight. Trump grew impatient, shifting in his saddle.
"We're wasting time. Can't we find a faster way?"
Mansa Musa did not answer immediately. He merely continued leading the way. The scorching sun, the relentless dunes, and the exhaustion weighed on us as we trudged forward. That night, as we settled by a campfire under a sky glittering with stars, Mansa Musa finally spoke. "Do you now understand the desert?" he asked. "It is endless and merciless, but those who persist learn its secrets." After what felt like an eternity, we reached an oasis, a place of shade and water, but more importantly, of people. It was alive with conversations, debates on philosophy, business, and science. Tents filled with ancient manuscripts lined the paths, the scent of ink and parchment mixing with the fresh air. Mansa Musa led us through the gathering of scholars. He watched as we listened to discussions on trade, astronomy, and medicine, as we marveled at the vastness of human knowledge recorded in the books that surrounded us. That evening, as we rested, Mansa Musa looked at us. "What did you find here?" he asked. "Wisdom," I admitted. Trump nodded thoughtfully, for once saying nothing. Mansa Musa simply smiled. At dawn, we arrived in a grand city overflowing with gold. Towering structures, intricate marketplaces, and vibrant streets buzzed with life. Mansa Musa distributed vast amounts of gold to the poor, built schools, and fed entire villages. Trump watched in disbelief.
"Isn't this reckless? Won't it make gold worthless?"
Mansa Musa only observed, saying nothing. The people rejoiced, the city thrived, and we saw how generosity shaped the empire. Later that night, Mansa Musa finally spoke. "Did you see what happened today?"
You gave away so much.
Trump said, still puzzled. Mansa Musa chuckled. "And yet I am not poorer." He left the words hanging in the air, letting us ponder their meaning. We reached the ruins of an ancient kingdom, long abandoned, crumbling structures, faded carvings, and the whispers of forgotten history surrounded us. Mansa Musa stood still, his gaze somber. "This was once a great empire," he said. "Its king was wealthier than I, but look at it now." Trump frowned.
What happened?
"He took much and gave nothing," Mansa Musa replied. "He built no schools, shared no wisdom, and left nothing behind." He turned to us, his eyes deep with meaning. "Do you now see?" The fire crackled between us, casting flickering shadows. "You have learned that true leadership begins with humility. You have walked the desert and learned that true greatness requires endurance. You have seen the oasis and discovered that knowledge is the most valuable treasure. You have witnessed the city of gold and realized that wealth, when given freely, multiplies. And now, you stand in the ruins of a forgotten empire and understand true legacy is not what you take, but what you leave behind." Trump and I sat in silence, absorbing his words. "The world remembers those who build," Mansa Musa continued, "not those who hoard. Now go back and choose what you will leave behind." As the sun rose, a powerful wind swirled around us. Suddenly we were back, Trump in his tower, me in my lab. The echoes of the desert, the golden cities, and the wise words of Mansa Musa remained in my mind. His final words resounded in my heart. "Greatness is not measured by power alone, but by the impact one leaves on the world." I knew now that this journey wasn't just for us. It was a call to build, to lead, and to leave something greater than ourselves. And so, the real journey began. In the next episode, I meet another mind from history. Who will I meet? What secrets will he reveal? The past still has more to teach. Activate the bell so you don't miss what happens next.